Hello, proud beauty nation. So, very exciting. We have an update for everything spicyaccountant.com related with Jake and also some of his insights about marketing and SEO to help you get started making those giant stacks of cash we all love. So, without further ado, welcome to the update on spicyaccountant.com with Jake. All right, my proud beauties. Here we are with the one and only man for us, Mr. Jake. And we are going to talk about everything that we've been going through trying to get Spicy Accountants live and running the way you guys deserve. So, I guess where do we start?
Well, hi everyone. So let's talk about what has been done on our end and share some status updates. Um, we'll talk about what you all should expect, kind of timelines and some things that we're preparing for the future to make sure that Spicy Accountants is the best resource for accountants. So
Accountants.
math for accountants. So what I can do is I can answer. We can go like one on one between you and me, and you can just ask me questions and I can answer
Okay.
them.
So what's been going on with the emails? Because I know we've been sending emails out and they haven't been connecting to people. And so, like, what's been happening with the emails? Because I know we've been trying to keep people in on the loop, but
Mhm.
that's been a big hindrance.
Sure. So we launched what like 10 days ago, like last week Friday or like
Something.
something like that. And when that happened, was we had a list of emails, and I sat down and took your email that you wrote and just sent it out manually. So the first 100 people got, something like that, got their email. And after that, the people after that weren't sent any emails because we're trying to set it up so as soon as someone clicks pay, they're going to get the email. So we're working on that part this week. So all the people that have paid, they're going to get the same email. And then everyone in the future is going to be updated and get the same email. So we have that email. We just have to click send and make sure other people in the future can expect that same email to go out.
And so we finally like settled on an email provider, right? Because I know that that
Yeah,
was like a whole thing where we've tried like
yeah,
4 or 5 different people or different companies.
yeah. We tested a few different email and texting tools. So right now, if people have support questions, they can go to the Discord, or primarily they should go to the website and talk through that chat app that we have. So if they put in their phone number, they're going to be able to get a reply from us in text. And the email part is we're able to get emails, but for some reason I'm working with the developer on the spicy set of on the tools there, but we're not able to send the emails out. So that kind of goes hand in hand with, hey, we have emails that we want to send out, but we want to make sure they all get sent out so we know from all the users that everyone's all on the same page. So I should expect like that to be finished within a few days, and then everybody should at least have that first email.
Okay. So that should be in the next couple of days. Now I know we were going to transition how we were taking all of the onboarding. Is that already live or are we still working on that? Because we had a forum, but we're moving it to
Yeah.
another
Mhm.
system because it's just more secure.
Yeah. So the system that we're using is a platform that once it's built out, so little bit of info, we're trying to make sure that all content and all information that gets uploaded eventually will just be completely restricted. So no person, no worker would be able to see any of the content. So
Yeah.
right now we're using an Asana form, and then we're going to move it to a more secure form. And then after about a month, when we're going to be uploading content, it's going to be on an even more secure platform. So it's just going to take some time. The Asana form right now will get to our team, but then they're going to get an email that says, "Hey, here's the form that you got, And we're trying to make sure that when you fill out the form, it stays safe and secure, and it's not going to pop up somewhere else so someone else can come in and see it. So that's
And
going to be on the new
this is more
platform.
out of healthy paranoia than any concerns for anything that's happened, right?
Yeah, no, this is just best practices, right?
Okay.
So as we're building out the accounting tools, we want to make sure that if we can use, because I'm developing and coding with our development team, if we're able to set up something so accountants can upload their content securely and then have robots do the work. Robots don't even have eyes, right? They can just get the stuff and then just upload it. That'll be instant, safer and secure, and then it can just get deleted from the database.
I think
So
robots don't even have eyes should be added to the papaya never saw it coming to like catchphrases that we need to make a thing. That poor papaya. And the robots didn't see anything. So so we're basically switching from this like slow system that's mostly
Mhm.
manual to an automated system that's going to be a lot faster, and it's just
Yeah.
testing it out and making sure that it's safe.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, so we've been vetting workers. I've had workers that have been working with me for 3 years on my companies and my other things, and um, they're trustworthy, right? They've worked with very important data and stuff with other projects. So I brought them on to help with data entry and to create the accounts. So everyone's going to go and get a spreadsheet of accounts that we've made. And over time, it's like we're going from this manual process, and then we're going to be able to automate it so that way when users come in, they're going to be able to say, hey, we have the list of accounts right away and it's all right here. And as we get more and more involved with the community, we'll be able to add more websites and more accounts that we'd be able to create. And again, that would be more instant and more secure. So when that goes live, it's going to be less manual, like 5% manual, if anything, to being almost fully secure and automated by robots. Right now,
Okay.
where it's like 5% robots and 95% workers, and within a few weeks, it's probably going to be maybe 50-50. So we're working fast.
That is because you are the man, like I said, the one man for us. Okay, so um let's talk a little bit about the uploading. So this is a monthly subscription service, and after all of the accounts are set up, next month people should have an option of basically uploading their content, and we will multi-upload it to the other sites.
Yeah.
And that's
Yep.
one of the things that we're making sure is super secure. I mean, that's gonna
Hmm.
that was gonna be a high value target for jerks.
Right.
We definitely want to make sure that people don't get your content for free.
Hmm. So we're working on a new addition to our platform to allow security, to provide safety, and to provide documented communication. So if users end up wanting to have a one-on-one relationship, everything to be safe and secure and documented all in one place. Um,
So
we're
it's
trying to
like
set
client
up,
communication, like for the panties dealing and
yeah,
things like
if they
that.
end up doing that, yeah, it'd be able to keep a record of that if they go off of those websites for safety. But when we get after the first month, right, in the future, it's going to be the first month is going to be in the first few days, right, once it's automated. But in the next few weeks, users should be able to upload. We'll give them an interface, like a little again another form on the secure side, and then they can upload their picture or clip or whatever with a description, with a title, with whatever that would normally be posted on these 50 or whatever websites. Then once it's submitted, again, 5% is going to be automated to set up, and then the workers are going to be able to do that. But then they're going to, over time, it's just going to be forwarded and posted in all these websites. So users should expect to basically say, hey, I have clips that I only want to know of this type that should go on these 10 websites. And it should be stupid easy for them, super simple. Like I have a picture of, whatever, and then they can just click a checkbox and that will tell the app to send it to the websites
So
related to that type of.
here's my foot pictures. It needs to go to all of these sites that do feet. And then if you had like
Sure.
panty pictures later, you could just check different
Mhm.
websites for just all the panty. Oh my God, that's gonna be
Yep.
so awesome.
Yep. So so if you're
For you
uploading.
newbie hoes out there, uploading content is like the worst because it's super boring and it takes forever.
Mhm.
So this is like my content spreading dream come true.
Yeah.
I'm
So
so excited for
pretty
this.
solid. Um, so the way that that works is once they upload it, they can check what sites, if it's like a, whatever, they will be able to have them see it. So if they have to make last minute changes, they can, we'll try to set up so they can add a date to it, a date and time. So one of the usefulness of scheduling is that they could spend a day creating content for a week in advance. So that way they can focus on other
Oh,
things that can also drive them more money. So once we build out the platform, they can spend time on the platform and go through what we're going to include as kind of like this special behind the scenes training on how to really make sure that each accountant is unique in this world. So
I
this needs
mean,
to be built.
that's a big deal because like a lot of us have kids and one of the questions I get all the times is like how do I do this with kids? Well, if you can schedule your content uploads to be during hours that you normally couldn't be available because you have kids, that's a great way to protect your privacy. And that's also a great way to, and I mean, a lot of us also are spoonies of one kind or another. A lot of us have some kind of, I mean, I was just got out of the hospital, and I know a lot of us have some kind of disability, emotional, mental,
Sure.
physical, that makes it harder for us to keep, you know,
Yeah.
sort of regular jobs, or we're partnered with somebody who's disabled. So being able to schedule your content uploads out. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be
Yeah.
a big deal to help a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. Most people, I think, are the same way. You're not going to be able to operate at 100% efficiency all the time. People burn
Yeah.
out, accountants burn out, I burn out. So, but I'm sure you get those days where you're like, oh my God, I know what I need to do. I have it all planned
I
out.
have so much
If I need to take
energy.
these pictures, I'll put it on here. But then when it comes down to, I have to actually do the last part, which is going to take like weeks to click and paste everywhere. That's where we'll come in. We'll say,
Yeah,
hey,
it's like you'll spend all of your energy on the 98% to
yeah,
get yourself up to that point, but that last
yeah,
2% effort is too much, and I ended up with like a terabyte drive filled with audio recordings I never uploaded. And that fucker was probably worth
yeah,
$100,000 over the course of 3 or 4 years, but I just and if I uploaded them, I only uploaded them to one site instead of all my platforms, which was just
yeah,
stupidity slash laziness slash ADD on my part.
yeah. It's
And
it's not. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, just like I mean, if you've never done it, if you're uploading like a video clip, like a 5-minute video, um, and you have meh internet, yeah, that could be 4 hours going through all of the sites, updating all of the tags, updating all of the descriptions, going through all of it. It's just a giant pain in the butt. Um, and I think that's what stops a lot of people from making the big money in accounting is because the big money comes from the catalog of content that you build. That builds up your passive income instead of the live performance income. So anything that helps that is going to help you in your long-term future success tremendously.
Yeah.
So I basically tell Jake what sucks about being an accountant, and he comes up with tools to bypass the suck and make everything better. That's why Jake's our favorite.
So, I appreciate that. But it's like I have the same issues with content too. Like I'm a content creator. I blog. I do social media stuff. Not quite the spicy
It's
side,
not as
but it's
spicy.
still content.
Yeah.
It's still content. So the way that I've helped other businesses, it's the same problems. So this is you're like basically we're taking like 15 years of content processes and introducing it to this to all the spicy accountants up there, and they're going to be able to basically get a huge leap up on everyone else that's doing it manually, right? Like they're going to be able to put out 10 times as much content, right? And make 10 times as much if we really get everything going.
It's
And
going to be more than 10 times as much, because the thing is, once you
sure.
start doing this on multiple content platforms, you develop your own fan base.
Mm. Hmm.
And that tends to create, like, as you get that traction, that tends to create more exponential growth. I don't want to like give numbers, because I definitely don't want to mislead anyone. And like I keep saying, like, this is a business. It's hard.
Yep.
If you're doing this because you expect money to rain from the heavens onto your face because you've taken a booty picture, um, I got some sad news for you, sister. I've waited for the money from heaven waterfall, and that's just not how it works. You do have to grind it, but I think this is going to take a lot of the grind out of the grind,
Yeah.
so that you can actually focus on making content, editing your content, pre-production, post-production, and live performances, because that's what makes you money. Any time you spend doing things other than that is time that you should be spending
Yeah.
relaxing or doing that, because that's where you make your money. That's not, you don't make your money uploading. That is something that could be outsourced as quickly as possible if you're going to maximize your revenue, because people don't hire internet strippers for data entry skills. Like, that's not what we're here for. They hire you for your spiciness, and anything that you do that takes away from the time to create that content, um, it just takes away from your total revenue, or the time you could be spending with your family, or relaxing, or whatever else you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That works.
And I know you've seen this in your non-spicy work.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a metaphor called the flywheel. Have you heard of that?
Give it.
Yeah, so it's this it's a mechanism. It's like think of it as like as a merry-go-round, right? And you're holding it. Think of the whole thing as your business, and it goes around in a circle, right? So when you're holding it on one end and you push it, it's going to be very heavy and very slow. So starting off, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to feel like you're not making any progress. But the more you work on it, and especially if you're using the Spicy Accountants platform, it's like putting a little fan on. So it's like it's giving a little bit more power. I mean, it's like a little engine. When you use it, it'll go even faster than without using it. So as you keep pushing it, it'll get faster and faster. And then eventually it doesn't take as much energy to push it, because then the momentum of this thing is going to keep moving. It's going to keep moving. And then eventually, if you have a lot of content, you have a big catalog, you can let go. And then it's just going to stay at that same pace. It might slow down a little bit, but as long as you push it a little bit and just take that time,
Yeah,
it's going to pay dividends. That engine is going to keep paying out passive income.
absolutely. Absolutely. And like, one of the things that I keep mentioning, because I've done a little bit of it, but you're really a lot better at it than I am, is SEO.
Hmm.
Like, the because if, as an independent content creator, we are not going to make giant stacks of cash competing against the big guys. It's a multi-billion dollar industry, and you're not going to be able to like go head to head with Bang Brothers or Playboy or any of those guys and find it. So the trick for an independent content creator to make a good living is to find a niche. Are there any like basic SEO
Oh
tips for
yeah,
a
of
beginner
course.
that you feel comfortable giving? Because I know that we're hoping to eventually have like a whole SEO platform to offer people, but like
Yeah.
for someone just getting started, like, what do you recommend?
Yeah, sure. So for context, SEO is making sure people can find you without you needing to pay ads for them to find you. So marketing without paying to have a customer work with you is organic, right? And that process is optimizing the search engine optimization. So I have a few adult blogs and a few kink blogs and a few fetish blogs that are getting like millions in these clicks and impressions. Um, and there is enough here for most for literally everyone that's in spicy accountants right now. If they found their own niche, a niche can be a specific kink, or it can be a specific region if they want. If I don't know if they serve, if they want to support local clientele, but safely, right, securely.
And
Like there's
just for the
a
record, there
lot.
are things that you can do locally that are completely legal. You don't have to cross any ethical lines. For instance, I have gone to a pub in public and just told somebody to give me $500, and they did. Uh, and they paid for the privilege of coming up and giving me money in an envelope. So there's things that you can do that don't break any ethical or legal boundaries in public. In some regions, you can do private dances, like you can go to people's homes and do lap dances. You'd have to check with your local rules about that. And there's also fetish entertainment. So I've been paid to be like a burlesque performer in nightclubs and things like that. So there's a lot there if you do choose to go in person and local. I know a lot of people in the spicy accountant team right now who are coming in are really concerned about anonymity and privacy. But you can also go the other way. Like I uh I was hired as an entertainer at a charity golf event. like like you wouldn't have thought like, oh yeah, let's have a dominatrix in the middle of the charity golf event. Like let's go. But yeah, like that was a totally a thing, and I was paid very well for that. And if I knew how to play golf at all, I would have been able to play golf that day. But I do not know how to play golf, so I just ate a lot of canapes.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Because we've never talked about in-person entertaining before, because that's a whole thing people need a lot of education on to do safely.
right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, on the organic marketing parts, once we build out the platform for them to be able to manage their own Rolodex of people or messages and for the safety and security, we'll be setting up or it could be, we're setting up this anonymous, it could be anonymous, paywall system. So they can bring in whoever they want to bring in. They can use the platform to even charge whoever they want to charge so people can see a very exclusive set of photos or clips or specific things on the platform. And users could instead put that out and have that be public and free, which would be a source of organic traffic. And I know that you were talking about having us work with some members of the community so they can learn how to do this skill and how to create content that gets them traffic. So they can learn how to blog by, for example, to talk about, 17 things of, it could be like, 17 reasons why men pay me for, whatever. That would be interesting
Need to
for,
figure out what kind of clickbait works
yeah,
for adult.
yeah, for the buyer side. So we'll be bringing on people that are following the spicy vibe that we have, like our spicy company culture. We'll bring them on as an intern, and if that works out, we can give them a reference saying that, yeah, they came on, they learned how to blog, and interns with us, they don't do the work, they just learn how to do it, right? It's all educational based. So you're not going to be working for free. You'll be learning. If you want to do that, just let us know. We could probably set up like a quick, you know, interview thing to talk with people. But I have like an educational bit training for anyone who wants to learn how to, not just post pictures, but be able to bring people and educate um, as well. So
One of the things that I'm always saying is if you just scrape the current buyers out of the platforms, you can make 25,
yeah,
$30,000 a year off that pretty easily. If you want to make 100, 120, $130,000 a year, you have to learn how to market yourself. Like the difference between the people who are making 30 grand a year and 130 grand a year, it's all content catalog and marketing. If you get those two things, you will propel yourself into lawyer money. Like people go to graduate school to make that kind of a living. And you can do that in your home, in your pajamas. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of work here. There's a lot of knowledge. There's a lot that goes into, you're not just going to sit there and the waterfall of money is going to hit you in the face. But um, but it is very possible and it's very doable for a niche, small, independent content producer to safely make that kind of money once you learn those two things. And that's especially important for my people of color. And I've mentioned this in some of my other educational content, but the platforms don't generally advertise for people of color content creators. So the platforms don't tend to have a lot of buyers already there who are looking for that kind of content. And I'll sometimes call that like you have the best cheesecake in town, but if you're at a vegan bakery or a vegan restaurant, nobody is there looking for cheesecake. If you have the best Swedish meatballs in town and you're in a Mexican restaurant, nobody's looking for Swedish meatballs in a Mexican restaurant. So if you are a person of color content creator, learning that marketing piece is going to be really important for you. Not because there's no money as a person of color content creator, but because um, there's just that extra little hurdle of getting your marketing set up so that you get people coming to you. Because
That makes
I've heard feedback from some women of color who are getting started in this that they are having a harder time, and I just wanted to make sure that I address that there are plenty of women of color content creators who make plenty of money doing this.
that makes that makes sense. So let me wrap this up. Let me ask a question. So this goes
Yeah.
back from when I ran a romance and erotica company for a few years. In that space, we would have authors create books, and within there were tropes. So you would have the fiery redhead. You would have, you know, like patterns that would happen with certain things. With all the kinks and with all the niches that people can get into, do you think learning those tropes, the story arcs,
The story
of those
arcs.
certain, would that be useful for them to learn how to, yeah, I understand this niche because I understand all the little strings I have to pull. Is that a big part of it or no?
Yes and no. The trick is with a lot of those tropes in the erotic writing is it's geared for the wrong audience. That is what women want.
Oh, is it?
Women tend to read a lot more of, if you actually look at the dollar per dollar amounts for the romance novels and movies and the adult industry, they actually tend to be pretty similar. But the way men's sexuality works tends to be a little bit different. So if you approach the pay for play adult industry, basically men are the consumers. In 20 years, I had one female caller and she had her male partner on the line. So women aren't going to be your primary source of income. And the guys who keep contacting me are like, "Hey, is there a
Sure,
way for men to do this?" Haha, no,
sure,
women don't pay. Um, and the story patterns are very different for the male market than they are for the female market. So there's a lot more emphasis on anonymity
sure,
and strangers. Just, somebody comes out of nowhere and is super into your kink and it forces it upon you. So it's sort of the ravishment fantasy that's really common in romance novels and tropes, but it's sort of flipped as and you see that in a lot of like the forced fetishes, like
sure,
forced feminization is where somebody really wants to be feminine or in touch with their feminine side or wear dresses or feel pretty, but they need someone to make them do it. So blackmailing someone into wearing a dress when, basically you as the anonymous person find some way to make them do their fetish. That is really, really common. And that's not something that I see a lot in romance novels, which I consume for myself. And my wife Sarah and Ash actually write romance novels. Um, so so that's just one trope that I don't see in the female market that I see frequently in the male market.
okay.
And I don't know if that is a native masculine versus feminine difference or if that's just how people are socialized in Western culture.
I mean, I know like a quarter of the stuff we published was that forced, like there was non-con, there was
Mhm.
force fem, there was a lot there's a lot of different things, but I think from the demographics, it wasn't split in half, but there was probably like 40-60, if I recall. But
Yeah.
there were guys. It wasn't on, so the tropes of, the save a damsel, a lot of the emotional stuff. But for the guys, a lot of the story arcs on some of the other things like on that would target a male character, self-insert sort of stuff. But the more successful authors that I published, they knew how to hit the notes, and both sides liked it. If it was more visual and less emotional, it wouldn't be considered romance. Like it would just be pure smart, like erotica, right?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, a lot of guys did buy that. It was like 40-60, maybe less
Well,
than
I
like.
would, if you're up for like shaking that tree and seeing if any of them would be up for an interview to talk about like the high points of writing your own
I could,
fantasies.
yeah. We managed like 300 writers. I
Yeah, I would love to do that because I mean most of mine like I've done demo videos where I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna like reach into my own perversions, just stream of consciousness it out of my mouth, and then I have a audio recording and wham bam, it's done. It's good. But like there's a lot of people who've been asking about like script writing services
yeah,
and for help creating that content base to go from. And I actually have some tips. I'm going to make a video about that later. Some tips on how to generate some of your content. But yeah, um,
I know that
anything that can
there's.
help sell because my niches were so weird and niche. I know that some of the things that I did that helped me be very financially successful aren't going to help other people as much. And this
Sure.
is about helping everybody, not just weird people who like can manage to make economic theory smut.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's thousands of kinks and sub kinks, and if you look at paraphilias, then they break up into several sub kinks, and they all have. If you know where to go, there's all these different websites and places that can educate it. And if someone really knows a niche, I mean, if they're passionate about it and they know a lot, and they know that their customer base likes it, they can just adopt that, I think, and then they can be the foremost person for it.
Yeah, like
Because
the one I
they're
keep
really
pointing out
involved.
is like the balloon kinks because I was actually at a party and two balloon kink people were there and I was sort of hanging out in the social circle and they started fighting and it was one of the most vicious knockdown drag out verbal fights I'd ever seen. And it was because one of them was a balloon snuggler and the other one was a balloon popper.
Oh,
And when you get really deep in these niches, like there's often these like intense emotional
yeah,
divides.
yeah, that's true.
Um, so like the poppers versus the cuddlers, like you just want to pet the balloon versus like you pop it. And like it was this massive fight and I had no idea that the balloon fetish community had this deep divide in it, but those are the sorts of niches where the money really is for an independent content producer. Like if you become the balloon popping queen, like that's and the thing is it's not just balloon popping. So that's one thing, but maybe you're the latex wearing balloon popping queen, the pantyhose wearing balloon popping queen,
Yeah,
the black balloon popping queen, the balloon
yeah,
popping queen who always wears crowns. Like there's
yeah.
some niche there
Yeah,
that nobody else is filling, but there's already a market demand for it. And it's just a matter of finding that niche and
yeah,
filling it. And then the money comes a lot easier than if you try to like build your clientele any other way. Go where the
right.
money already is. It's easier.
Yeah, yeah. Especially, yeah, when you're taking kinks and merging them with others, people are going to pay a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, are there any other questions that you want
Um,
to answer? Because I think we've done a great job here.
yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time as always, Jake. We appreciate you. Expect a flood of comments and love. And yeah, I think that is it. If anybody has any questions after watching this video, please leave them in the doobler-doo or send an email to support@spicyaccountants.com.
Yeah, we'll be posting a FAQ page that's going to try and answer everyone's questions, like no matter what question regarding to what we're doing. Um, we're going to try our best to answer the most urgent and the most popular sort of questions as well. So they'll be coming up soon.
Awesome sauce. Thank you so much for your time, Jake. I will get out of your hair and you have a fabulous evening.
Yeah, you too. Be well. Bye, guys. Bye.
Thanks.